Yes, good evening, good afternoon, from wherever you're watching us from. My name is David Lubuurwa, and I welcome you here on Uganda Crossroads, live on Life TV, live on Facebook, and Campfire TV, or CFTV here in the United States of America. What you're doing is really amazing, and we thank you for sharing all our programs from wherever you are. Now, today, I want to ask you again to do something. Share the page, like the page, send us your comments, what you think about all that we are going to be discussing on. Of course, as always in Uganda, stories keep happening every single week. This week, remember what happened with the Steranyans. The case is still going on, but every day since the trials began, there has been something developing. Yet to be discussed here in the studio. Full house is already in. Haman is already here. Sarah and Richard Mimba, they're already here to discuss the key issues that have happened this past week. Of course, remember the musician who was kidnapped, his eye removed and 2 fingers lost. We are here to discuss, is it the security problem that is happening in Uganda, or it is just something as usual, business as usual? People are kidnapped and nothing happens. We have already seen it in Uganda, people asking for money and all that. Was it politically motivated, just as people claim? Was it just a normal case? These are some of the things that are going to be discussed here, some of the political issues that are going on, and of course the economic issues. So I want to welcome you, and guys, I want to thank you again for joining me today. The week was not great this time, I have to admit, because when I saw this young man, so-called, his stage name is Zigwine, when I read a story that his eye was removed and all that, for the first time in my life, I was so much moved, and I felt like, no, this is not right. Something's going on wrong. So that was me. I want to start with Haman. You are far from me, so I want to start with you. What made news in your week?
Almost everything that involves the government, especially anything that involves the Ugandan government, as far as since this term began. It catches your ear, the things that, everything around the government, as long as it is surprising. You no longer hear the government, the government is starting a new organization to help the people. The things that you hear about are just saddening. And so the only thing that surprises me is that you are surprised.
All right. All right,
how can you be surprised when the government has a trend? All right, that is what surprises me.
I don't want to jump, so I'll go straight to Sarah. Sarah, what happened this week to you? Was it? It
was so much was revealed, especially with the judiciary and the stories seeing that group of supporters being treated like that because he was left for the dead. A lot has been happening, and I guess there's a lot for us to discuss because Uganda has now become the Hollywood of. It's a movie theater. Every time there's something new coming, every week there's something new coming up that is amazing, that is worrying, that is depressing, that is, a lot is coming out from there. So there's a lot to discuss about.
All right, sure. Richard.
Yes.
Good news or bad?
Very bad news. Good afternoon, viewers, or good night, viewers. This week, I was so saddened by the events that are taking place in Parliament of Uganda on the laws that they are trying to make sure that Honorable Bobi Wine Ochagwen does not stand as a candidate in the country. That means either the government is going to choose its opposition, or Uganda will not have an election. Because what is going to happen if the moment they shut that door for democracy, that means the rivers of the country shall have to come through turmoil, war, and bloodshed. I was so saddened by the way the government is taking the route. So,
all right. So, thank you. I've heard how your week was, but most importantly, I wanted to go back with what we stopped with last time, but let me go straight to the key issue that happened this week. The case of Steranyans. There are 2 or 3 things that happened there. One, the improved technology, now that they can do video conferencing and somebody is in a prison and, the judge delivers the session. The second part was the bottle thrown at the judge. So the third thing that happened in the same case, how the case was concluded. I mean, there was a possibility of just paying the 1.4 million and the case is closed, but something happened up. So I want to start with Herman. The judge faced the anger of people. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it is. I think it is kind of expected. People have been, you know, once you suppress someone, I have said this before, that once you're cornering someone, you corner them with a way out. That if you suppress them to a point where they are choked, those people are bound to defend themselves. It is expected. It is human nature. So people feel like their rights have been sat on, their freedom has been oppressed. They are saying it is justice. But what is justice when you can't present the person live in court? What is justice when, you know, the person is miles away, but the person making a judgment on that person's future, you know, that person's life for the next 9 months or the next year, is not even present to sense, you know, the emotions or the smell or the stench in the prison cells that this person lives through. You know, having experience in a prison cell, I have told my friends that, you know, when you talk about prison, it is not easy. When you leave prison, for me, when I was put in Chibuye police post, you leave and you shower for 2 days while still smelling the same smell. It is so bad. It is funny before you go there, but it is sad. So someone is making the judgment, they are in an air-conditioned room, and for you, you're smelling of prison material. So it is an obstruction in justice itself. I don't know, and I don't know how these people end up being judges and calling themselves such, because it is a mere obstruction of justice that you cannot face the person who you're calling judgment on. The person can't face the people defending the attorneys, the people who are advising on her case. So it is not justice in my view.
Yeah, so Sarah, this is like a new trend that the government now, the people who oppose the government are now using, throwing bottles at those who support the government. We saw it with Bebe Cool, we saw it with...
Bebe Cool? I don't think so.
Basically because people said yesterday that maybe he supported the government, and that's why people throw him.
Okay.
So now we're seeing it to the judge. What does that mean to you, Sarah?
The group that threw bottles at Bebe Cool were his fans. Let's start off from there. The people who threw bottles at Bebe Cool were his fans who are not satisfied with the way he was handling himself. Because let's not even overlook the fact that even Bebe Cool, his fans are oppressed. They go to the same hospitals the opposition people go to. They lack all the same basic needs. All the other people lack. So the fans of Bebe Cool saw him becoming braggant, pretending to enjoy, enjoying life when they are lucky. So his fans threw bottles at him. Those were fans of Bebe Cool. They cannot be. What would other people have interest in throwing bottles at Bebe Cool? They were his own. It's like having a home. You have your kids, and then you prepare food and you don't give your kids, but they are seeing you enjoying, chips and chicken, and you're throwing bones at them. They'll throw back the bones. Those were fans of Bebe Cool. What happened in the magistrate court yesterday? That was a set-up arrangement. That guy was NRM, and if you're not mistaken, he's somewhere. His money he was paid, and they wanted to just cause a scuffle and make people look bad. I'm sure they arrested a number of people, but those that were not paid for the setup are going to rot in jail. Yet the real perpetrator is going to be out. That was a setup.
All right. So
NRM has mastered. They've run out of ideas. That they've mastered playing very cheap games that even a fool can see. Who believed that opposition people, threw bottles at Bebe Cool? That was, you're going to tell me the same thing that people threw bottles at Fresh Daddy. That's one of the ways they want to distract Ugandans. They wanted people to talk about Fresh Daddy for the whole week and distract Ugandans over things that are really important. Bebe Cool, it was a setup. His own fans were so unhappy with the way he's braggant, threw bottles at him because they are oppressed. They go through. When he's driving a new VX he was given, his funds are lacking food, they don't have transport, they don't have the basic needs, they are dying in hospitals every day. The magistrate, that was a setup. It was a setup to make, because Stella Nyanzi's opposition, and they knew in the courtroom they were opposition members of parliament, FDC, People Power and all that. So they wanted to make the people who had gone to court look bad. That was a setup.
All right, so Richard, you've been following this story, and I remember this week we had some little bit of interaction, you and I. What is most important here? Is the government losing the power that they cannot drive the victim from prison to the courts? What is the government scared of the trends that are going on, or it's just a new technology that they want to simplify things?
No, this is every high-profile case now is going to be tried like that way, because the people of Uganda, if you see people the way they are behaving, I was looking at Honorable Chagwen and the way he was in DC, in Kumba University, and how he came out. What is needed now is a spark for a revolution to get the government out of power. So these people, we are saying that, why did they give a judgment on such a, if it is a small case, why did the judge or the magistrate give a judgment on that very day? Why had she to postpone it to the next day? So that it was arranged that the person is not going to be in court, it's going to be in reserve when she's making the judgment. So what are they fearing? Because NRM is a revolution. And there is a new revolution that has come up of people power. So it's who is who and who is going to take the power next. So these people are fearing that these people, anytime, the moment you give them a chance to spark off their revolution, they're going to kick us out of power. That's, on my opinion, I think that's what they are fearing. That's why they put the public management order bill, so that people must not get together for any occasion that can spark a revolution.
All right, so CFTV this week reported that Dr. Stella Nyanzi pleaded guilty of cyber harassment, which according to laws of Uganda, it fetches her a maximum sentence of 3 years behind bars, or $391 fine, which is approximately 1.4 million Ugandan shillings. Now, the truth is, she knew what she did, that she did cyber harassment against the president. Doesn't that affect the people who support Stella Nyanzi and, of course, Stella Nyanzi herself?
No, Stella Nyanzi's argument was very clear. If you listen to her, she was saying the person she offended was, in fact, the case she thought she would be tried for, of maybe undermining the president, she was acquitted of that case.
Right.
But one of the things I want you to analyze and look at, even for our viewers to understand, they had an option, there were two options. Either pay either 1.5 million or get a sentence of
3 years.
3 years. Why didn't they give her the option of paying the money? Because she had surety. She had people willing to pay that money in court. They had the money. But definitely, you know, one way of intimidating people is by putting Stella Nyanzi in jail for maybe 3 years or 9 months. They think they are going to deter people from, you know, raising their voices and having something to say about the regime. But again, as much as Stella Nyanzi knew what she was saying, and you remember Stella Nyanzi refused to get bail. She was offered an option for bail and she refused. But one of the things viewers and Ugandans I want them to understand is Museveni's government no longer, only if you notice, because we don't have guns, we don't have the machinery we have. Stella Nyanzi, they only now heed to obscenity. If Stella Nyanzi admitted, there are so many people who are eloquent. I write so many posts on social media, but I'm not good at writing obscenity. But Museveni's government heeds to obscenity, heeds to people who are undressed. So Stella Nyanzi has mastered the language of the president, that those are the things that really trigger him to pay attention to the things happening in the country. And Stella Nyanzi is using that tool, and I'm telling you, Museveni is listening. The international community looked at judgment being passed of a woman who was expressing herself, because give me the other option Stella Nyanzi would have used. She doesn't have guns. She was first persecuted for speaking out basically and chased away from her position from Makerere University. She's a professor. She has been persecuted for a number of things, but she has no weapon. She doesn't have a gun. She doesn't have all the other weapons she would use to show the oppressor that is enough is enough. The only weapon Stella Nyanzi has right now that is going to make the dictatorship listen and open their eyes is use of obscenity. Stella Nyanzi is not crazy. I've seen people label her, she's crazy, she's mad. She's very smart, unless you've not interacted with her. Very smart, very intelligent. But she understood, unless she, you know, the society we live in is so immoral that sometimes you have to become extremely immoral for people to listen. Because of our cultures where we come from, immorality now, people are using it a lot to be listened to. You've seen so many people on social media are using immorality, either they've gotten fame out of it, but Stella Nyanzi, she's using immorality. She's using obscenity to deliver a point that is really good. If you look at where all this started from, it started from the pledge President Museveni made himself when he was choking, you know, in 2016. He made a pledge that he was going to give free pads to school-going children. We are in 2019. No kid has ever gotten pads. And Stella Nyanzi started raising her voice from there and said, excuse me, this is what is happening. You promised, it was one of your political pledges for you to come back to power. And you promised to give our kids pads, the school-going kids pads, because most of the kids were no longer attending school because they didn't have pads. Or because when they get into that stage of the cycle, they stay away from school. Nothing has ever been done. So Stella Nyanzi started the campaign of raising, you know, pads and giving them to schools, and she was arrested, she was being attacked on that. That sparked off everything. But because, you know, the regime has no way, because the best way they would have done to silence Stella Nyanzi was to provide the pads to the children. Basically all Stella Nyanzi wanted was this President Museveni to fulfill the pledge he made. As a feminist and knowing what school-going kids go through when they're in that time of the month, she wanted the president to fulfill the pledge. But because they are so corrupt that they don't want even to spend any single money on such things, yet they can keep it for themselves, that's when her problem started. But Stella Nyanzi, at the end of the day in all this, she has won. Whether she's put in New Zealand for 9 months and she comes out, Stella Nyanzi, his message has been put across. I'm telling you, the general media, Uganda, abroad, whatever she did yesterday, she has now the voice, you know, she has, everyone is asking, who is Stella Nyanzi? They want to know. She's been doing this activism for a long time. People now are asking. What she did was, she doesn't have guns, so what she had to do is to use her nudity to make everyone in the world ask, who is Stella Nyanzi and what is she fighting for?
All right, Herman, you want to add in something?
I would like to read a post regarding the Stella Nyanzi's moral issue by Sasi Marvin, who is one of the youth coordinators of People Power. I just want to read the post, and that expresses exactly how I feel about this. Between Dr. Stella Nyanzi's, this is what it reads. Between Dr. Stella Nyanzi's poem and actions and General Elwelu's Kasese massacre, which of the two is more immoral? Why is Stella Nyanzi in prison and Elwelu out on the street? Between Stella Nyanzi, who wrote a poem against the bad governance of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who killed his way to power, who is more immoral? Don't tell me about Stella Nyanzi's morals. Stella Nyanzi never stole drugs from hospitals or gave government jobs to incompetent relatives. Stella Nyanzi's words have killed 0 people. The bad policies of Museveni's government and sheer abuse of glaring incompetence of his appointees has killed Ugandans in the hundreds, if not thousands. Does Museveni know how much he has offended our mothers? What makes him think that his mother is more special? It wasn't about the morality in how Stella Nyanzi communicated the message. It was more about the substance of the message. And this is what I want Ugandans to, I hope to teach Ugandans, that, you know, they teach us in P1, P7, Maslow's hierarchy. I talk about this every time I come. There are priorities in life. If you're prioritizing your esteem, self-actualization, oh, they've abused me, you're insulting the president, you're insulting the person of the president. I don't even know.
The president said he doesn't care about people knowing it.
Well, then Stella Nyanzi wouldn't be in prison if he actually didn't. So, that is high up, you know. People are dying. People were killed in Kasese. Museveni left skulls in Lubuurwa, you know. My mom can't sell the maize she grows every month. These are problems that are at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the responses like throwing bottles are minute compared to what Museveni did in '81. So I want people to appreciate that This revolution is a humanitarian. These things are things that affect people and for the people. They are not selfish. We will not get guns to kill people. Things have been suggested. People are willing to die for these actions. Stella Nyanzi is willing to stay in prison, you see, for a change in governance. But what we are not going to do is be as immoral as going to the extent of killing people. And so people should not focus on it is so immoral, it is so bad, oh, they are so... No, people should focus on their problems. When you go to buy sugar for 6,000 shillings per kilo, that is where you should watch. When you go to the hospital and there's no medicine, that is where you should say, this is too much. Yet people are buying private jets. People are buying private jets. The tirirus in Kampala are like tirirus, while other people's cars are rolling on the streets, making way for these people who are in government. So let's not talk about immorality. You know, let's not incriminate people. Let me say this. You see how quickly Stella Nyanzi was brought in front of a judge. Did you see that Boda video on Kakensa, they call it Kakensa? That guy has not been brought in front of a judge. What does that show you? That guy has not been brought to book. But Stella Nyanzi's case is being given attention. The judgment is firm. Stella Nyanzi is confined. Why? Because Stella Nyanzi's presence causes an effect on Museveni's seat. The only thing that the government cares about, the government including the three arms of government, judiciary, executive, and what? And legislative. All they care about is Museveni's comfort. So immorality, I don't know, maybe immorality these days changed meaning, but immorality should affect other people's livelihoods. I.e., people are killed, they should be brought to book. Otherwise, these things continue to happen.
All right, so I want to read the People Power President or leader, Honorable Babuani's tweet about the same case of Stella Nyanzi before we leave it. And I'm going to read a few statements. Quote, the same courts which have protected the corrupt, shielded murderers, and defended land grabbers are now castigating a poet for being immoral. You and me know very well that if Stella was President Museveni's minister, accused of receiving a bribe, she would be off the hook in no minute. If she was a high-ranking police officer accused of murdering or torturing a citizen, she would be out of cells, having a good time with her children tonight. She wouldn't have spent even one day in jail. So I want to end up with this. So what is more immoral? A woman who uses hard words to speak truth to power, or a minister who steals money meant for babies suffering from malaria? These things must be looked at in their full context. The argument is morality is only an excuse for persecuting this courageous woman who has dared to speak against the evil despot. You guys have almost said the same statement.
She had to use what she has.
So
the only Museveni right now, and Museveni for him to say, President Museveni for him to say, oh, he's not bothered by people talking about him, he's lying. He's a liar. He has just showed it with the case of Stella Nyanzi. Stella Nyanzi, the only weapon what she has right now is her nudity and her obscenity to be able to fight the dictatorship. I am telling you, because so many women are not as bold as Stella Nyanzi, so many women in Kampala, if they were as bold as her, they would strip on Kampala Road naked and walk on the streets. That's how they've been. And Stella Nyanzi using obscenity and using nudity, exposing her privates, is one way to tell you the pain Ugandans are carrying. She's a mother. She sees what people are going through. It shows how much the dictatorship has reduced Ugandans to. That a full professor, do you know what it takes to acquire a PhD? Do you know what it takes? Do you know how much research you put into acquire a PhD? That a full PhD, a full professor, a full person, an individual with a doctorate can be reduced to putting her privates out in public. It shows you how rotten the system is. That people have lost, because everyone will be like, oh, she's a doctor, she has a PhD. But she has lost herself in the regime, that she cannot use guns, she has nothing, but she has to use what she has for the world and President Museveni. Because as much as people say, oh, Stella Nyanzi ashamed us. Stella Nyanzi is not ashamed. Uganda is ashamed. Because the people in the world are going to ask, oh, who is she? Oh, she's a doctor, she's a professor. if professors and doctors are going to do that, then what does it tell you about the state?
All right. So, Richard, I want to end with you on the same statement. And I want to read what Bobi Wine wrote. What gives us hope is that the forces of evil, however dark, never win in the end. Here's my question. When you look at the challenges that now Dr. Senyans is facing, she's back in prison. Didn't the government win?
No, they lost. She's now an international icon that has exposed how rotten the system, how tired the people of Uganda are. Look at what happened in Tunisia. The revolution started by someone reaching a climax of oppression and set himself on fire and killed himself for the sake of others to live. That's exactly what Nyas has done. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, for me, I'm seeing the way things are going to end up in Uganda. Let him push the Ugandan to that limit. You are going to see how many people are going to die for the cause of being free, because that's what she has expressed herself. She's not stupid as she was saying. No, I agree with her that that Nyas never exposed herself for the world to see her, but she was expressing herself how tired for the people of Uganda. 33 years and you still want to go. Someone said, I just had something on Facebook, someone saying that Museveni is no longer in power. He's just a ceremonial leader. The wife and the children are in power now. If you look at the example, because I look at so many things that had happened in Africa when we people are sleeping. I was looking at an example of Kenya. The last days of Jomo Kenyatta, the leader, the greatest leader of Kenya, the last 5 years, he was no longer even in control. The mistakes you see in Kenya today, I was reading the biography, the mistakes you see in Kenya, the land grabbing, unfair distribution of wealth, the land and everything, were done by the people, not by Kenyatta. Because the people of Kenya believed that someone was in control when he's not. What is happening in Uganda is that she expressed herself that things are not well. For the people to wake up that Museveni is no longer in control. These are just people, the police is concerned that Museveni was abused. They should make a case for this. The intelligence is, instead of focusing on things that matter for the country.
All right, so yeah.
Before you get off that point, I do not know if Ugandans paid attention to Stella Nyanzi's submission a day before she was sentenced. These are some of the things she mentioned. She told the magistrate, as you're putting me back to Luzira, I want you to work on the health, on the toilets. The women in the women's wing, there are no toilets. Women are having UTIs. Women are having all these things. It is unsafe. Women have their menstruals, but they do not even have anywhere to keep their pads. This is, you see, for people who do not understand, Stella Nyanzi is an academician. Stella Nyanzi is going to come out from Luzira with a research paper that is going to destroy Museveni. Because Museveni is not in Luzira seated. She's writing. Wait her book that is going to come out on the women's prison system and how women are persecuted and what happens because she spent almost a year in Luzira. Right. As someone who is an academician and smart, you're going to see what she's going to come out.
All right, so just a reminder to our viewers out there, the lines tonight are going to be again open, so you've been positioned to call. The numbers are going to be displayed on the screen very soon. I've been informed by the producer, so you'll be in position to call. One is the South African number, which you can use via WhatsApp, and another one is the American number, which you can call directly. So, guys, one important thing when I was starting the show was that the president, this last week, what happened was that there was a gentleman who happens to be a friend to the Firebase crew, or friend to Bobi Wine as a person, who was kidnapped, eyes removed, and fingers cut. Now, we have been in a government that has been serving for the last number of years, really very few years, according to some leaders in the government. And the main target was always, we have worked on security. We are improving everything. But what is happening today, according to our research, and of course what is happening in the media elsewhere, is that the government's authorities, police and others, sometimes are involved in these cases. Now, I want you guys to break down this Ziggy Wine's case. He's a friend to Bobby Wine and he's a People Power affiliate. Is there any police involvement in this case, or it was just his, business affairs that caused him to be kidnapped and handled this way? I want to start with Hammond.
I don't want to dwell on speculation to make judgment, but these things, maybe Ziggy Wine was recognized because his issues were exposed and people are aware now. But there are very many people who go through these kinds of torture, People are scared to put on red, just because they might go through the same. And so, as I've said when we were starting, is anything that shakes Museveni qualifies to be treated the way he was treated. Anytime people are hurting, I have talked to many people who say, I like these things, I would want to participate, but me, I don't want to show my face. Me, I don't, because they are scared of that kind of treatment. So, of course, it is done by the state. These things are arranged by policemen who are trained for a few days, who are given peanuts, and it is a saddening issue. But I don't want it to, I pray that it is not focused on one person. I want us to use it to show the other people that this is the country that you're living in. It is a message to the local Ugandan, to an everyday Ugandan, that once you step out of your house at 9 p.m., you are very, very liable to experiencing such behavior, to such treatment. The police or the security forces that are supposed to protect you, they're the ones that are arresting local Ugandans and letting free thugs.
All right.
The other day, a policeman was caught in a robbery in Entebbe. I don't know if you saw that. He was, I think, a lieutenant or something. He was caught red-handed. They drove in front of a businessman's car, trying to steal money. And now these are the people who are supposed to protect us. And these stories are common.
Right. So sorry, your submission on that.
One of the things we must understand, and there is a lot that has been going on social media right now, especially with like the whole of social media today, and I've seen other bloggers putting a lot of attention and time on some minor irrelevant issues, Boston show, blah blah blah. And the bloggers, this is now going back to the social media bloggers, Choto and all the rest, let's give time to this gentleman fighting for his life. Sometimes we swerve away and go to totally irrelevant things. Bobby Wine can cancel a show anytime you want. He has so many engagements. This is a presidential material. This is a president in the making. He has so many engagements, so he can decide if he's sometimes so many months and weeks away or from his children and family. What about a mere show? No show is worth any money. Bobby Wine's life is, or any other engagements he has, are bigger than any amount of money. Right. But I've seen for the last few days we've given a lot of time to things that really do not help the revolution and are forgetting to highlight very important things. Zigman, I guess that's the name, he lost his eye. And this is an excellent amount of torture we are getting to watch right now happening in Uganda. He lost his eye, 2 fingers are cut off. And you may find he's being highlighted because maybe he belongs to the Via base and his name can be talked about. A few months back, there is a gentleman who disappeared. He used to be an accountant with BAT. And he works with BAT, an accountant, and his car was found in Gaza. It was all over the news. He was a People Power supporter. He has never been discovered up to this time. His wife has spoken to me. I've told her, go to the mainstream media, use bloggers. The man has disappeared up to this time. They do not know who. In fact, the captures called the wife and told him, the car is parked in Gaza, come and find it. That's when they last saw the man. It's been now about 4 months. He's disappeared. Now, we are having our brothers and sisters in the struggle coming back, being tortured and thrown somewhere. He has lost the eye. This guy was born with 2 eyes. They've been so functional. 1 eye is gone. And then we are losing fingers. And you see, a few people have had incidents happen on them, but because they are known, they're in the limelight, it is easy to address these issues. So I'm begging the bloggers, I'm begging everyone who's a political activist on the People Power platform, let's highlight these issues and let's tell our members to be vigilant and let's tell our people, don't move alone. If you're going somewhere, let someone know that you're going somewhere so that we can, because we do not have the guns, we do not have the machinery. We saw last year when there were those demonstrations, we saw a policeman using pliers live on TV on someone. These things are happening. The torture is real because if we keep quiet and let minor things distract us and take us away from the big goal, what is going to happen? So many people are going to lose their lives. People are going to lose fingers. He lost 2 fingers, someone is going to use the entire palm. Someone, he lost 1 eye, they're going to start throwing us our fellow members with both eyes removed. And because this guy is fighting for his own life, bloggers, I beg you, people power activists, let's take time to address. Let's educate our masses. Don't move alone. Let everyone tell people around you where you're going, what are you going to do. This should be, if you're in Uganda and you support Bobby Wine and you're not secretive about it and you do it openly, let everyone around you be in the know. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Who you're going to see? And share this information and communication so that we can help, understand what is happening. And let's be vigilant because these guys are so determined to reduce us in numbers so that by 2021, maybe we have limited numbers to vote. They are killing young people who still have energy, who still can mobilize and get us vote. So let's put our energies and focus on highlighting these key things happening in Uganda right now because today it's on someone else. Tomorrow it's going to be on your brother or you yourself.
All right, so Richard, I'm not going to take you there. If you had something, I'm giving you 1 second.
Yeah, but all these things to end, these are North Koreans trained people that have done this. That should be the Special Force Command. We shall find out in the end because at the end of the day, we shall have a truth and reconciliation program in Uganda when we are healing the country. But the most important thing to stop this thing is going to happen from generation to generation. Because Museveni in Nairobi said that these are state-inspired killings. It's the state that is in power that is killing people to intimidate them from joining the revolution for him to get out of power. The only way we are going to stop this is to have exactly like the US Constitution, where the citizens of a country are allowed to have guns equal those that the state has. That's the only thing that is in American Constitution.
All right, so looking into the politics, there is a new trend, especially in you, the People Power Movement or Association, whatever one may call it. Last week we discussed how people are not happy with the decision that was done by Bobby Wine and the team for selecting a list of people. And of course, we had one of the representatives here live, Karim Muntam, who represents USA. The story is continuing. Dr. Bedi Bwanika is still strong on his point. He comes out to say now NRM is winning because of the mistakes that were done by the People Power team selecting these people. What is your view? So I want to start. I want to start with the.
Hold on 1 second. I don't want us to end the show without talking about the new rules in elections.
We're getting there. We're getting there. But I want to find out.
I hope we do not, because these are very individualized sentiments.
Because
that is Abedi Bwanika's style of doing things.
He represents a number of people who have the same idea and think the same way. So
remind me how many votes he got in the last election if he represents a number of people. I don't wish to minimize people, and I respect his views. But I don't want us to focus on Abedi Bwanika when there are things that are going to affect the future of our country and our kids that we haven't discussed. So I beg that first we talk about these electoral reforms before we talk about Abedi Bwanika's
I want to get there. But I want to settle this issue of Dr. Abedi Bwanika. He had a point.
If I may say, Abedi Bwanika for him to say that, oh, Museveni is winning or NRM is more winning because people power put up structures. I think Abedi Bwanika is just disappointing. That is not part of the structures that were put up, or is not part of the coordinators. But Abedi Bwanika is a failed politician. Himself, when he was running, look at all the times he ran as a presidential candidate. Did he have structures? Did he have coordinators? Maybe he failed even to get a certain percentage.
But according to his statement, he's one of the founders of the People Power movement.
Who founded People? Because People Power is what is founding of People Power? Who is People Power? If you can answer that to me, who is People Power? People Power is me and you. So what did he find? He found himself. It is himself. He carried himself from wherever he was and planted himself in People Power and said, yes, I believe in the power being in the hands of the people. So you can. What do you find? People Power is it's like an unknown. What did you find? Because it is me and you and every one of us believing that the power belongs to us. If you say you're the founder of People Power, you are in other words telling us that I can't even explain it. You know, the problem is these are seasoned politicians. They want to be relevant even when relevance has lost meaning. Abwendi Bwanika he had a very good program on agriculture. I wish he could find funders and help Ugandans who are suffering with agriculture. Agriculture has really gone down. I wish he put his energy and expertise in helping, because he has a degree in agriculture or something. He's a doctor in that field, if I'm not mistaken. He should get his expertise. If he puts that program properly on paper, and he can really get good funders to help Ugandans. I think just like I said, these guys do not want, they behave like slave queens who do not want to go off the trend. He's totally behaving like a slave queen who has completely lost it. There are so many new slave queens on the market, but you know, he doesn't want to go off. He doesn't want to accept that Ugandans have now moved on. Because the things is fighting for. Okay, if he's one of the founding members of People Power, who has chased him out of People Power, he can still do what he does. But at the end of the day, when he keeps telling them, but your actions will speak more than your words. His actions are showing a disgruntled man who is fighting for the meat that is not even there. Because I did not understand this issue to do with coordinators. Because these coordinators do your job. Just like I said, if you're not among the coordinators, we need mobilizers. We haven't even selected the mobilizers. We need everyone in this cause. But when you see a few, so what did he want? He wanted, so is he among the people fighting for the cabinet? Is he not smart enough to know that this is not a cabinet, they're just coordinators? If he wants to really become a vice president of Uganda when Chagulanyi comes into power, let him work for it. Let's know that, he has mobilized 50,000 or 100,000 Ugandans to the cause, or who are going to vote. But these guys love the camera so much. You know, what I would say, Slay King, Abedi Bwanika, relax. There are new Slay Kings on the market. They have 5 packs, 6 packs. These guys are putting on tight, nice-looking jeans. These boys are young. Please relax. You are Slay Jaja now. All right,
so Richard?
For me, what I have with very, very important notes here. We had a fight with Dr. Bwanika in Watertown here. We had a very big town hall meeting, whereas not 2016, the last election before 2016. And Abedi Bwanika came in the diaspora here, and he got $170,000 from all Ugandans. And his argument was that it's him that is anointed by God to do salvation on Uganda. And he has the mandate from God to win the leadership of Uganda as the next leader of Uganda. That was very important. I told him, Bwanika, show us your roadmap of winning Museveni. Because by then, my argument was that as we are now, we have to line behind, we Ugandans have to line all of us behind Besigye as a winning candidate against Museveni. And Bwanika was diverting people in Watertown, a big town hall meeting, about 8,000 people, that they should line behind him. And people actually gave him money. You know what happened to him? When the election were over and Besigye had been stolen in that election, it was only Abedi Bwanika that went to congratulate Museveni as the winner of the election. So, and he even never came back to America here to say sorry to the people. People worked Icheyo, people slept in nursing home to give him that money. He never even came back. Ever since that day, even if he's watching me tonight, I'm telling you frankly that Bwanika, you want to capture something, just lying behind people power politely, you'll get something to eat. That's it.
All right, so seriously, I want to just
the only way Bwanika was to be silenced, all he wanted was to be mentioned. Now, if that is a leader, if that is the kind of leader people are following, I still feel bad for many Ugandans. But I like he just wanted his name, Abed Bwanika, coordinator, Masaka. That is all he's looking for. So you see the fights that our leaders, now the people who voted for Bwanika during the election, it breaks my heart to see that there are even Ugandans who pay attention to this guy. People tell me, even Bwanika has people who follow him. The people who are following Bwanika, they break my heart. All he wanted was Abed Bwanika, coordinator, Masaka. You see how trivial these issues are.
But you see what, sometimes, just like you said earlier, sometimes we should not let these guys, if these are people who have been around Bobby Wine, every time he has maybe a press conference, you saw them in DP block, they keep on clinging on him. You cannot let them trying to make Ugandans go astray, and you let them, you behave like, lying dogs. Because, there are Ugandans who are going to start, what has Bwanika said? As much as they may not have a huge following, but you cannot let people who have been around Bobby Wine and they are disgruntled, or he has seen through them that they have nothing to benefit the cause we are up to. Because not everyone around Bobby Wine is beneficial to the cause. Some are there because they want to be in camera. Some are hoping maybe they'll have something to eat. As with time and, as we keep going on, just like he said, their actions are going to tell us exactly what they're up to, and then we will know them for their true colors, and they'll find something to do. Because, on one hand, he's saying, Bobi Wine is the chosen one, then he goes to the next camera, he has failed now because he did not select you among the coordinators. If Museveni, he went to the inauguration of Museveni. Did Museveni choose him as a minister? He's the only opposition leader who was there. Why did he become a minister? He's a doctor. He's educated. He should have become the minister.
Maybe that's why he left Museveni. He wasn't chosen.
No, he should have become the minister of agriculture because he had a very good knowledge on agriculture.
Guys, I'm going to take you out of there. So let's go. Let's really focus on the electoral reforms now. To be exact, it was planned that way, that we had to look into this in details towards the end of the show. Now, the other week, the Attorney General presented before Parliament the electoral reforms, just as they were ordered by the courts of law. He came after people, disagreed with him and everything. Then after he said, the reforms are not targeting Bobby Wine. It has been reported by all local media houses in Uganda. But this is the exact statement he said. The new reforms, in fact, are supporting him by saying you can associate with any political party.
What?
So I want to start with Herman. You disagreed with what the Attorney General said, but I want to read it again for you. The new reforms, in fact, are supporting him by saying you can associate with any political party.
So these reforms which say you can't be an independent a few days before, you have to have stayed in your party for 1 year.
He came out and refuted all those, that they are not in the document.
That you have to have stuck with the party for 1 year before you run. And then, you see, I only listen to these NRM people, these pro-Museveni government officials, just to remember how sad the situation is. I don't listen to them for direction. The people who we are supposed to be listening to for direction are the people who are telling us, if you're listening to these government officials for direction on social, economic, humanitarian issues, you're being misled. Instead of leaders, they become misleaders, like the principal says. So what it is it is sad, but there's a section that says, there's a particular section that quotes that once you, let me read it so that I am quoted right. Section 22 of the Principal Act Amendment. By inserting immediately after subsection 1A of the following, a candidate shall declare to the Commission within 14 days after nomination day the source of funds for financing his or her election. Now, I don't know if Museveni will declare his source of funds, because we know it is, some of it is from that chartered flight, the pallets of money, that the 5 extra pallets of money that went missing on the chartered flight. Now this, what it does, it puts people like us who have put, our struggle is more financial than on ground. People like us in the diaspora, it is trying to stop us from participating, from kwebereramu. They have to expose who is sending money back home. These are the things that it comes down to. But what this does is that they try to stop, again, opposition politicians from getting financed, from being able to be facilitated, from getting access to resources to enable their campaign. And so these are not laws to help, these are not electoral reforms. These are electoral misguidances. They are electoral mishaps that are happening. They failed to implement the other ones that were ruled in the court after Tojikwatako and after the 2016 election, Amama Mbabazi's. Now they are trying to implement this. Why? Because they entrench Museveni's authority. So I don't, again, when you're reading for government officials, when you're reading them, don't read them to guide people, no. Just read them to be aware of how misgoverned the country is. So that is how I feel it.
You know, as I listen to a lot of things that have come up in the media, and I was watching them, listening, and then I think it was on one of the TV stations, either NBC or NBS or NTV. The Attorney General was talking about. He was trying to break down what was what people were misconstrued to be the truth, which was not. And then one of the things he mentioned, and these guys should always be careful, he said his son came and told him at home, "Dad, why are you targeting Bobi Wine?" They are going to face so many questions from the members of their family, because if your son can come to you and say, "Dad, why are you targeting Bobi Wine?" Because these guys are behaving as if they are the omegas and the beginning and the end, and they forget that they have people around them who may not agree. Because you are the Attorney General, if your child can come and ask you that, then your child is not stupid, he's seeing whatever is happening. But these are kicks of a dying horse. And this, you know, there is a horse being in the last days of dying, but this is a horse that is taking the last breath. Because there are so many things Museveni is going to do. But at the end of the day, whether it's going to take the belt, whether it may take the belt, or it may take Ugandans to come up together and cause an uprising to see that they end the 33 years of President Museveni. Because for as much as you want, he mentioned the 90 billion. I'm telling you that money is not going to get to 2021. With the mafias they have right now, if you go back and ask where the 90 billion is, you may find it's already gone. Because Museveni's government is run by mafias, they cannot let the 90 billion rest and wait for 2021. These guys are thieves. They steal anything. Anything. Even a bottle of water, they could steal it thinking that is gold in there. They steal anything. That's the level we've got into. So they will not wait until 2021 to wait all for the 90 billion. It could be gone by this time. But it is going to come back to Ugandans to know exactly what do we want and how do we achieve the change we want. Because these are not the only laws they are going to put up. They are going to put, remember we still have the treason case that is, they are dragging on for, I do not know. I know the judge acquitted Zake. But the rest are being dragged on for, I do not know how long it's going to take, and I'm very sure Museveni is going to drag it till 2021, because he may, you know, when you have a treason case, you cannot stand for a political position like the office of the presidency. So there's so much that is going to come up. But at the end of the day, as Ugandans, we have to choose. If Museveni is going to bar us from voting the person we want to replace him in 2021, what is the other option? The other option may cause we do not have the guns. It may cause Ugandans standing up together in an uprising, just like what happened in Tunisia, and we say, you know, enough is enough. Let's get back the power we want. The power belongs to us. Because right now, what we are facing, he's really pressing the nose so much. The nose is already bleeding. But it is going to start bleeding even more profusely, because he's really, really tightening every avenue. And Ugandans are not stupid. We are seeing all these things. He's making us really, really sweat blood by putting so many stringent, you know, sanctions, this and this, because he wants to stop Bobi Wine from standing. Museveni knows. At this point in time, Museveni's no problem is not Besigye. Museveni's problem is not any other candidate. Museveni knows. Whatever you do, whether you stop all political parties, whether you say you can't stand as independent, whether the political party comes up yesterday, Museveni knows. By having Bobi Wine's face appear on the ballot box, he's finished.
All right. So, Richard, I want to get back. I want to get to you.
Yeah.
In these electoral reforms, some of the things they suggest that candidates should not be supported by foreign aid. Now, let me ask you this. Is the government targeting, especially like what Haman said, is the government targeting the people in diaspora according to analysis, or it's just normal because even in the United States of America, it's not allowed for foreign support during electoral time? So what does that mean?
This is normal for Museveni. Even in the constitution, it's there. I don't want to waste so much time, because at the end of the day, the money will not go there. They will get it. So let's focus on something that in this topic. Then I'll show you exactly what is going to happen in Uganda. In the new changes, an independent candidate shall be required not to have been a member of a political party at least 12 months before nomination day, and shall have no alliance to a registered political party, and shall have all the necessary provision to be elected as an MP. It's clear, as soon as these provisions are put into law in Uganda, Honorable Bobi Wine is not going to stand as a candidate for president or MP. It's just here clear in monitor. I'll give you the topic of monitor. So what is going to happen is we are going to go back, as you say, that all the power belongs to the people of Uganda. That's the provision and the preamble of the existing, though I don't like it, Constitution of Uganda. It will take the decision of Ugandans in the diaspora, on the ground, and the soldiers in the struggle to make sure that we uproot Museveni from, because the Constitution clearly empowers us as people of Ugandan origin to make sure that if our country is tampered with, yes, let me finish this. Now this is very important to a soldier that is on the ground in Uganda. It's going to take you on which side you are going to be, either to kill your fellow Ugandans when they are delivering the country out of the trial and say it is in, or you'll be on the side of the people. Because I'm going to introduce to you something that is going to help you as a soldier on the ground. In America, there's what they call the GI Bill. Because for you, instead of being used against fellow people when they are liberating a country of which you and your grandchildren are going to benefit, because the purpose of Museveni is protecting himself with all the oil. The money is going to come to the oil and make a new foundation in Uganda for his family. But if you side with the people power are going to introduce a new GI Bill that you benefit, where you will get, I want you to read that 1944 GI Bill of America, where you shall benefit in soft loans, where you shall go back to school, where you shall get soft loans so that you start a business. In America, where we are today, all the middle class people are results of the GI Bill that after Second World War II, the people who came back from the fronts of fighting Germany and the triumphs of the world were given an opportunity to go back into society and make money and become rich. So it's going to take a Ugandan soldier or people that are in the security in Uganda to look at the other side that we are proposing them as advisors to people power. Look at the side where you are going to benefit And then you become rich, because at the end of the day, all we need is to become rich for ourselves and our family. So when you look at a side where Museveni wants you to go and kill the people, where you are going to stay in the barracks protecting his wealth, where you are going to side with the people.
All right, so yeah, before I come back to you guys, I just want to remind the viewers that in a couple of minutes, 1 or 2, you're now going to be free to call in so that we can hear your views or your questions or your comments. So the numbers are going to be put on the screen. The producers are working on that. They've already done it and they're working still on it. I want to come back to you.
I think I missed something minute when I was speaking, but the bottom line of the entire discussion about these reforms, that all this ends up being a decision for the people. Museveni understands that, as someone who has talked to people who are running and people and the feel of the country, the people's attitude towards the election. Like I said when I was here one time, you know, people say, "Onampadde omuti gwa sabuni gw'ompadde ki?" So Museveni understands clearly that Ugandans are more focused on materialistic, you know, materialistic convincing. Tulao nainga tonna tula kumbula chombulira ngenyonte numa. These are the things that people say. This is the electorate. Now Museveni understands the electorate. NRM understands the electorate. And they know that Ugandans, either abroad or even in the country, are willing to sacrifice their hard-earned money to push this struggle through. Now, what they are doing is putting a roadblock, curtailing all that. But in the end, whether these reforms go through or not, the bottom line is that every single Ugandan needs to remember.
But remember what's going to happen. What's going to happen according to the reforms? The army and the police are to vote before the general public votes. Mm-hmm. That, to me or to anybody that will say that's improvement in security during the electoral time.
No, again, that ends up coming back to what the general people feel. And the general people doesn't exclude the army. When I say people, you know, the population, it doesn't exclude the army. It includes everyone who buys sugar for 6,000 and who buys fuel for 4,000 per liter. So in the end of these reforms, it is going to come down to how do you see the future of the country? Are you okay being given a bar of soap or a kilo of sugar or some salt for you to give away your future? And that is, I say that's the bottom line. So
it's been on record that most of the amendments or the reforms or whatever that are brought by the government tends to be successful. And technically, Sarah, this time again, the government is going to be successful by implementing these reforms. Now the question is, one of them says that there shall not be cameras in the polling stations. And one of the biggest weapons for, you know, the People Power movement, I believe, is the easiest way of making the information go around. How is information going to be spread when there are no cameras in the polling stations?
Museveni is totally too scared. Because, you know, and at the end of the day, with everything they're proposing right now, the best he can do, let him just scrap the 2021 election and maybe declare himself like president, and then let also the people, you know, decide if they want to have a revolution, whatever, or an uprising to take him out of power. You saw they mentioned also in the same amendments they want to do that results will be declared to only 5 people. It does not make sense. You know, these are all tactics. You know, I've always mentioned Museveni is never scared like he's scared this time. And the reason why he's scared, that there is 75–80% of the population, because by 2021, it will be 80% of Ugandans will be eligible to vote. So he's really, really scared that 80% of Ugandans have never seen any other president. They are so disgruntled, they are jobless, they have no medication. They really, really are so frustrated with him that they want to see another leader. They want to start with someone else. They want to be able to blame someone else. Why do we live all our life blaming one president? Majority of Ugandans, we've never seen, even if you tell us about Amin Obote, we've never seen an Obote or Amin. We've not been in that era. Why can't we have a comparison? Why can't you let the majority of the let's say, because when you see the older folks will say, oh, Obote did this, Amin did this. Because we've gone even to an extent of saying, okay, Amin was a dictator, Amin killed people, but Amin did something tangible to Uganda. All Museveni's achievements have been scratched, have been, scrapped up, and right now is compared to Amin. And when you compare him to Amin, at least Amin did something for Uganda. Right. Why doesn't he give us a chance to compare him to someone else? It's just like in developed countries. Obama had his run, Trump has his run. We can now compare Trump to Obama and say, okay, we wish one would have stayed longer, one is better than the other, for one reason or not. So he has denied Ugandans a chance, one, to choose the leader they want. So, but what has he done? He has put up all these stringent, bills, changing
reforms.
This and this, reforms, which are going to pass. There is no doubt about that, because he owns the majority of the House. These are going to pass. But if they pass, Ugandans now we need, because they are all intended to failing Kyagulanyi to coming to that ballot paper. Or his intention, because I'm seeing if they fail Kyagulanyi, we might have the seasoned older politicians throwing themselves back to the ballot. But they don't have the will of the people. Ugandans are really tired of seeing their faces onto the ballot. So what is going to happen, what I would suggest, is maybe we need to find other tactics. Maybe we need to uprise. Maybe we need to raise our voices big and louder. Because other than that, he's so, all Museveni's moves
this is what
this is
what confuses me in this entire bill. The Attorney General, the government was asked to present reforms. And the government did its job by presenting reforms. Why is it that members who oppose the government think that these reforms are just targeting one person?
You don't have to be a certain age, or you don't have to be too brilliant to identify that they are targeted. You don't have to be the smartest person in your class. It is not for intellectuals. You don't have to be the smartest person to notice that these are targeting Robert Kyagulanyi. You don't have to. But what my president tells me is that, are you doing your part as a citizen? You know, we can discuss about how reforms are going to change the direction of the election and how they are going to affect presidency. But what are you doing as an individual, as a Ugandan? Whether you're an army officer, or you're a politician, or you're an activist, or you're a people power coordinator, what are you doing? Are you ready to vote, first of all? Are you ready to protect that vote? Are you ready to be present during the decisions being made? Because it is the same as Toji Kwatako, it brought Kyagulanyi to light because he was very active and very present in those changes. Now Ugandans, what Bobby Wine tells us is that we need to be active. That is what is going to set the direction of these reforms. These people are supposed to be serving us. Do you understand? So if Ugandans say, no, this is, you're taking us for granted. Reforms last year, when was Toji Kwatako? 2017, 2018? 2017. Toji Kwatako happened. Last year, was it last year when they passed OTT? Now they are passing. Every year they are changing to favor them. So Ugandans should get a point where they say no.
All right, so you mentioned about OTT, and I want to end with that story, guys. This week, as CFTV, there was a report that the Commissioner General, Doris Okol, this is what she said, and I quote, "We believe this performance was partly due to continued use of Wi-Fi internet covered areas and the VPN networks, meaning the government has made tremendous loss ever since OTT was introduced." Now, let me be clear here. It was estimated between 2018 and 2019 that the government had to collect around 284 billion Ugandan shillings. But unfortunately, the government collected 49.5 billion Ugandan shillings, which is around 17.4%. That is the performance rate for between 2018 and 2019. Now, does that make the government strong?
They don't care.
Let me start off with something, and which is very funny. So they expect to collect over how much money you mentioned?
284 billion.
284. Yet government institutions are using VPN. You saw yourself the first time they paraded Chagulanyi from Luzira. The police, the prisons are using VPN. I cannot tell you and assure you, most of the government institutions, if you go into maybe their offices, they're using VPN. So who did they want to pay that money when they're using VPN? So it does not make sense and add up, because if you lead by example, if for yourself, even the prisons are using VPN, you think Ugandans, you get VPN from heavens, Ugandans cannot download VPN. So Ugandans, and you see, if it was as a country where, where everything Ugandans put in, they would get back in terms of services, Ugandans would have no problem with paying OTT and, paying, the tax, the social media tax. They would have no problem. But they know definitely this money, you're collecting it for your own personal use. So Ugandans are going to downloading VPN. So if themselves, the question is, if government institutions are using VPN, you think Ugandans are foolish to pay that tax? You think VPN is gotten from heaven that they can't use it? So as they're using VPN, Ugandans are also smart, they're using VPN, and they're not going to pay taxes to enrich a few individuals.
All right, so the phone lines are now open, so you can do call in. The phone numbers are live, right below. You'll see them. One is a South African number on WhatsApp, just in case you want to call in, and the other one is the US number. So the lines are now open.
I wanted to say something.
Yeah, sure. So people can now call in and tell us what they think,
okay,
what their views. And I want to be clear this way before actually you guys start coming in. There have been questions that have been coming in, messages that have been coming in. Why don't we host people who support the government? The answer is very simple. We have always contacted each and every individual we expect to come and at least give their view as to how the government is performing. And they have always declined our requests. So it's not our problem, it's the problem of those who believe in the government. That's why we get a chance that these people from People Power and FDC come and give their views. So
let me tell you something very important today that you people must learn. All of you that are listening to us, if you are from Africa, I was looking at why Africa is a backward country. Why are we the laughing stock of the whole world? Why are we the people who are supposed to work outside? And I never knew this question until this week. I was looking at the problem of Africa. It all started by Nkwawa Nkrumah. Nkwawa Nkrumah was the father of all the revolution, because Ghana was the first country in Africa to get independence. That is 1957. And Ghana, Nkwawa Nkrumah, adopted two things that have brought Africa, where other African leaders like Museveni, like Samora Machel, where Museveni got this type of government, like Tanzania, like Zimbabwe, where we have rotting governments. It was his adoption and adoring of socialism and Marxism. If you look at the problem of Africa, because through the Pan-African revolution, they were able to help other governments to come into power. Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. So we are all victims. So because this problem that has dragged Africa to this point was started by one person, I believe Chagwa is a blessing from God. And I believe we should take this opportunity of the People Power movement, that all of us should embrace it as Africans, to support it so that it is going to succeed in Uganda, to be a working example of the rest of African countries, that we should get out safe out of this problem that we have been in. That is the message I wanted to put to the people that come from Africa.
So the numbers, the US line is 617-402-0880. Then the WhatsApp line is 2+27 73 622 6233. So the lines are open. You can call in and give us your views, your comments, or questions, and then we'll be in position to answer them. Now, guys, there are some kind of allegations that we are trying to follow up. That the honorable member from Uganda, Honorable Judith Wabidie, is in the United States to give birth, and that she's being supported by the government of Uganda. And now the question is, why is it that the members of parliament and all these leaders, especially who work for the government, when they fall sick, when they want to give birth to kids and all that, they cannot do that in Uganda? Could there be a strong reason why stuff like that happen? Is it that they have, you know, someone say that they have the money to do so, and others are claiming that no, it's not about the money they have, it's the trust they have in the hospitals in Uganda. Is it a success to the government of Uganda that now their people move abroad
To give back.
and they cannot do it in Uganda?
I think maybe the first thing we would do is we need to find Babidi and help her go back and give birth to Mulago, because that's where she's supposed to be. But you see, the funny thing with these government officials that are really absurd, you want to enjoy the VIP. When you fall sick, you want to run to United States. When you want to have the VIP, the care, the first class treatment, you run to USA, because you can afford to run to USA. I do not know if she's here on taxpayers' money. I do not know where she's staying. But at home, she's representing people of Boyikwe. Is that Boyikwe? People who are dying while going to the hospitals for labor to give birth. People who are dying because there is not even mere Panadol or mere, any medicine for malaria in the hospitals. She's enjoying 5-star treatment in the United States. These are the kind of leaders we have in Uganda. And it goes back to the voters. You need to be accountable. You need to put these people you elect, you need to make them accountable for the things they do. Because you cannot tell me you're going to go back to Boyikwe and ask these people to vote for you again. When you fell sick, you ran to the United States. Why don't you go through the same services they get? You go to the health center 3 where they go to and are not able to get the medical attention. And see the situations they go through. But it so happened with most of our leaders, when they get a problem, when they fall sick, when now she wants to give birth, she ran to the United States. In Parliament, they are very quick at increasing their salaries. They are very quick at asking for all the crazy things that benefit them as individuals.
Sure. So we have a caller. Hello. All right, so we still have a technical problem. Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Hello, I am trying to call the show.
Yes, sure, we can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, we hear you.
Hello, I'm trying to call the show.
Sure.
We hear you
All right,
speak.
so I think my producers are going to fix that. Please.
Hello, how are you?
We are doing good, ma'am. How are you doing?
Hi, my name is Nina Kirwa.
Yes, Nina.
I'm trying to advise one of the gentlemen next to you who is putting on the glasses.
Sure. Sure.
Go ahead. I'm hearing. I'm ready to answer your call.
Hi, I'm calling from London. I want to advise that gentleman next to you who is putting on the glasses.
Yes. Please go ahead.
He said that Ugandans, we need guns as you people in America. That is not right. That is not caring for Uganda. Ugandans, we don't need guns. Remember, Uganda is a third world country. America is the first world country. Imagine having guns on Ugandan streets.
Can I answer you that
true.
question?
Yes, let it first go on, please. All right.
Can I answer that question?
And secondly,
Yes.
please hold on, please. Secondly, he has talked about.
Yes, please.
Secondly, he has talked about that Africa is the one to blame. He said that Africa is the one to blame. Africa is not one to blame. Ugandans, we are the one to blame. Because the fact has Sudan has done it, Algeria has done it, Libya has done it, Senegal has done it. It's only Ugandans who have corrupt mind, who are waiting 7 just to sit there for many years. We have to try to chase out Uganda. So it's not, I agree with him, with Kwame Nkrumah. But I disagree with him that Africans, we are the one to blame. It's Ugandans, we are the one to blame. Win or lose, it's all in our hands. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Nina. But I think, Richard, you've heard very well.
No, let me answer.
First of all, you advocated for Ugandans to have guns.
Let me back up my application, because
Great, sure.
this is something that is so important. Ugandans have been killed for so many years. The American Constitution, if you look at it, for 247 years, has never, there's a few amendments. It was because of the British operation of the killing of the American people that in their constitution, they introduced this system of every American to have a right to own a gun to defend himself against aggression. How many Ugandans have been killed? In the last war alone, we have lost 1.5 million people. Ugandans, state-inspired killing. Idi Amin killed 500,000. Museveni's war, where we were in, almost 1 million people were lost. If someone is capable of protecting himself and has a safe house, why doesn't we change the constitution so that a Ugandan can have a gun in the constitution that can protect him against an aggression of the state?
Okay, that's the
most important thing.
That's going to cause a civil war. All right, so we would like to have 2 more calls and then we will be closing the line. So the numbers again are on the screen, so you can call in and give your view. And of course, I want to thank Nina for taking your time and giving us a call. At least you've checked Richard. So she also mentioned about Kwame Nkrumah.
Mm-hmm.
The argument you suggested that Africans are the reason why they're poor. And she said that Ugandans have not just stepped up the game as compared to other countries like Sudan and Algeria.
Yes. Let me give an example of socialism in Uganda. What year did it come in? It was Milton Obote who brought in socialism on the that brought in problem with Idi Amin, this common man's charter to turn Uganda on the socialist side of the government. Uganda was not supposed to be like that. On independence, we were following the British type of system of government and the economic system. But because Tanzania had adopted such measures, so Julius Nyerere, in all these liberated countries, were adopting this sort of socialism and Marxism. From Kwame Nkrumah as the founding father in Africa, who supported most of the liberation struggles in Africa.
All right,
that us so bad where we are now. Look at Museveni. He's practicing, he has a 50-year plan to implement socialism, which has failed everywhere in the world, into Uganda. Can we agree? When the country is voting like that, that we are pigs, that is should practice if you put an injection.
All right, Richard. All right,
guys.
So we want to end up the show with just the final remarks. Hamad, I want to end up with you. The hospitals in Uganda are rotting. Members of parliament are coming in the United States and other developed economies to have better services. Your final remarks, and then we close the show.
I wish we can find Judith Babidia to be here to explain to Ugandans why she has the audacity to leave the people she represents and come to enjoy the sweat that we wish we would sweat back home, but we are sweating here. I tell people that
enjoy services she has not paid for.
Right. I tell people that, you see, when I go to work, when I went to school in Uganda, and I went to Makerere, I did my degree, I should have got a job in Uganda. That is what the goal was, so that I can contribute to the country and develop the country. Those are things that hurt me. That is why I actively participate in this struggle. But now, I have friends. My friend Winnie is here. She used to work for MTN. They tax 30% of their salary. If you make 2.5 million gross, your take home is 1.8 million. 700,000 shillings goes to the government. Now that money does not build resources. As opposed to here where we pay high taxes, which is almost 30%. Hear me out. Almost 30% we pay. And that money we see, that is why Judith Babidia is giving birth here. That is why members of parliament rush here to give taxes. I wish that they implement policies that help people, so that when we pay taxes back home, They enjoy the services that these countries provide. And that is why I am actively in this struggle. So I beg you and the producer and anyone who has contacts to Judith Babiria here to come and explain to Ugandans how they tax us to pay for their airline tickets to come and fly here, but not develop hospitals where the services could be provided. The talent is there to give medical services.
Haman, thank you. I want to start. Go straight to Richard.
Okay.
Richard, first of all, the many people who don't agree with people having guns, based on the history,
no, that will be the people of Uganda.
People who are based on the history that is going on in the United States. People are fighting, guns. Every day people are dying. And,
okay.
So
the new constitution of Uganda, there will be a referendum. Let's not go that side. That's a long struggle. Let me finish with Judith Babidi. I've met her here. I just look at her. The reason Babidi is coming.
Invite her.
No, Babidi, the reason why she's coming to America to give birth to American hospitals is holding the American certificate to good life for her children and great-grandchildren, to have an American passport for her child. That's it. Let me tell the people, when she was defending the Museveni's tojikwatako, she said, "Kantoge mu Uganda, yagamba bamutajikwatako ejja kugaga." That's what she said. I was following her. We are fighting as Ugandans. That's why I'm in the media today here, in the media house, talking to the entire world. We are fighting in people power to have Uganda exactly as you see America. That's why we are fighting, that our children and great-grandchildren shall have the opportunity in hospitals, in schools, in monetary system, in everything that Americans have, to have them in Uganda. And that's why we are kicking Museveni out, and we shall kick him out of government. Because why does Museveni has to take us to the left, through China and the socialist countries? Right. Why doesn't he become a friend of America like Chagwen, so that we could change the country? What did this honorable be a friend to Museveni? Why can't she see what is happening in America and be a friend to American people?
All right, shouldn't be a crime for one to be a presidential friend. Sarah Joy, your final remarks.
Just like she said, botajikwatako ejakugaga. She spearheaded the removal of the term limits. It is so absurd that Museveni did not take her to any of their private hospitals to enjoy those services, that they have to run to America and use our taxpayers' money. That's why anyone who has Judith Babiria's contact should get it for us. We need to pay her a visit and check on her and see how she's doing. And maybe we need to remind her of the Tojikwatako statements, face to face. Because it is really unfair for people who are in government to always abuse the power and services back home, and they run to places where they don't pay taxes, where they add nothing to the development of those countries, and enjoy the services they've never worked for. It is really so hard because, and we are allowed to speak about this. I pay taxes. Every check that comes to me, I've paid federal, I pay state taxes, I pay all the taxes. For me, even to get medical services, I pay medical insurance. So it is really, really so unfair for people who are in elective positions, who should be living by example and helping people back home, to come here and enjoy services and enjoy taxpayers' money. Yet in Uganda, all what they do is pocket taxpayers' money.
All right, thank you.
David,
yeah.
I think this week you have your work cut out for you. I think you should ask the viewers.
I can get it for you.
Hey. All right.
I know where.
Sure, guys. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you viewers who have been watching the show. Thank you for comments. Thank you for calling in, Nina. And next week again, the lines are now open. So every week we shall have at least 3 to 4 people calling in, sending their suggestions or questions, and then we try to break them down. It's always us. It's always about our country, Uganda. That's why this show is about Ugandans, Uganda at Crossroads. We don't bring in other countries. We may have other chances to talk about Zimbabwe, Kenya, but this is about Uganda. So we thank you so much, and have a great week. My name again, David Lubuurwa. Coming up, Love, Sex and Money with Denise. Take care. And Jamoka Singh is already in the house. So Denise, Jamoka Singh, and few new guests, watch out. Love, Sex and Money. See you next week, same time. Bye.